I'm Christina. This is Outcomes. I'm going to bring back something I used to do, which is my strategy sessions. If you've followed me for a while, you may remember the days when I used to record these 5 to 6 minute episodes, breaking down quick case studies and concepts and providing immediately actionable takeaways. It was fun. A lot of you liked it. So I'm going to bring it back today and talk about my Fundable 15 newsletter. It was launched just a couple of days ago, and this is a high power short list of social care organizations, but not in the traditional charity sense. These are healthcare aligned, outcomes driven, and often payer integrated organizations that prove the ROI of non-clinical interventions. I handpicked each of these for their ability to bend the cost curve, move the needle on health equity, and scale inside value-based care. The list includes organizations like CHW-led programs, dual eligible care models, and even maternal cash transfers. And you can check out the full list on my Substack. I've included the link on this episode. Inside of the launch edition, you'll find 15 standout organizations that are reducing cost, proving impact, and scaling what works. You'll also find my full framework. This is a pre-actuarial method I use to quantify ROI, risk, and payer readiness, independent scorecards for each organization listed, and strategic fit insights so that funders know exactly who these models serve best and how to work with them. And the flywheel I developed is also included after reviewing hundreds of organizations, revealing the hidden patterns behind high-performing, scalable social care. So check that out. But creating this list showed me this over and over again. The programs that stood out weren't just building services. They were building new agreements about who delivers care and what counts as healthcare and how value is defined. So real innovation here isn't the app, it's the agreement. We love to talk about disruptive tech, but if you zoom out, what actually drives change is the agreement underneath the tool. In other words, the app provides a legitimacy of a new kind of social contract. So if you take something like Uber, the true innovation there wasn't the software. It was that the company codified it. The platform made that agreement trackable, enforceable, and scalable. Same thing in social care. Let's look at one small step from the Fundable 15. It's number 15. They're not ranked, by the way, but it's not just an app for peer support. It's an after hours contract of trust. When I reach out, someone like me will answer. This tool exists to make that agreement work 24/7, even when the rest of the system shuts down. Take one of the other organizations listed that was a community health program, only it wasn't just the community health workers itself. They delivered a scalable bilingual social contract for trust and outcomes in Hispanic communities. There was another organization that was a tech-enabled team, but they built an agreement between urban patients and providers to integrate behavioral, physical, and social care in a real way. And you have a organization that provides a formal agreement to keep frail elders living at home instead of nursing homes, fully integrated and fully paid for. What made them investable wasn't the newness of their tech, it was the clarity of their structure, the way that they turned trust, consistency, and impact into something fundable. Social care is full of informal agreements. Volunteers dropping off meals, nurses texting patients after hours, social workers bending over backwards, but Informal doesn't scale, it doesn't protect, it doesn't attract capital. What scales is a model with rules, a system of accountability, and a story that funders can underwrite. So let's make this real. I want to show you what this looks like in practice by unpacking the 3 models that I talked about. Because when I say that the innovation is the agreement, I don't mean a memo or a verbal nod. I mean an operationalized, accountable, and fundable structure that replaces improvisation with intention. Let's start with MHP Salud. They don't just have those community health workers. They've built an entire system where the community health workers are the frontline infrastructure of chronic care in Latino communities, especially rural, underserved ones. But they formalized a culturally competent agreement between the system and the patient. In that agreement, the patient knows they'll be met by someone bilingual and community rooted. The payer knows that the community health worker interventions produce $1 to $3 in return for every dollar invested. And the system has a structure, a workforce model, an ROI story, and Medicaid contracts that make this repeatable. It's not just Goodwill, it's governance. The tech helps, the metrics help, but the core innovation is that everyone knows the terms and they work. Now, take City Block, that gets a lot of attention for its tech, and rightfully so, but real power is what that tech enables. It's a mutual agreement between marginalized urban patients and a system that has historically ignored them. Now, what does that agreement say? We'll bring the care to your neighborhood. We'll integrate your behavioral, physical, and social needs and not silo them. We'll do it with providers who reflect your community with dignity and data. This is innovation by reconstruction, rebuilding the social contract of trust that many systems have broken. They don't have care coordinators. They codify care delivery in a way that supports both outcomes and equity and contracts that pay for it. PACE, that's the program of all-inclusive care for the elderly, is one of the most time-tested models that we have. But don't let age fool you. It's one of the most radical agreements in healthcare. Here's what it promises. If you're over 55 and eligible for nursing home care, but want to stay home, we'll make it happen. We'll cover everything, medical, social, personal care, through a fully capitated model. And the outcomes were fewer hospitalizations, better quality of life, lower cost over time. The app didn't do that. The agreement did. When you strip it all down, what makes these models investable isn't just good outcomes or good intentions. They codify trust. They don't leave it up to the brilliance of a few heroic individuals. They operationalize it in contracts, roles, workflows, funding mechanisms. That's what funders can invest in. That's what systems can scale and communities can rely upon. But Informal doesn't scale. So here's your challenge. Where in your world is trust happening informally, but not formally? Where are you relying on goodwill instead of structuring something that will scale? If you want to grow, get funded, or embed into healthcare systems, you've got to move from we help people to we deliver this outcome for this population under these conditions with this return. Because when the agreement is clear, the capital follows. And that's your strategy session. I just wanted to ask if you found this video insightful. And if you did, please click on subscribe so that we can continue to ensure no one gets left behind in the value-based future of healthcare.